Hello, everyone. I would like to continue talking about the Hey On episodes. This episode is about Arnold being punished just so a man can find out who disrespected him. The episode starts off with Arnold finding Harold, Sid, and Stinky, who are about to flash their bare bottoms on Principal Wards. They told Arnold to join them, but when he refused, they start calling him a weenie, as they believe that he doesn't have any guts. After successfully pulling off the brink and leaving, Wards stop Arnold from leaving as since Arnold is aware of who flashed him, then he wants Arnold to tell him the name so Warts can deal with them accordingly. Arnold refuses, so Warts decide to punish him with 4 weeks for detention until Arnold confesses for the damage for not cooperating with Warts will result in Arnold getting a failure to cooperate with authority on his permanent record. This is, of course, isn't fair, but at the end, the entire detention ends if Arnold just tell Warts what he knows and he won't have to suffer the punishment. This is, of course, isn't fair, but at the end, the entire detention ends and Arnold just tells Warts what he knows and he won't have to suffer this punishment. Throughout Arnold sitting through detention, Harold, Sid, and Stinky are thinking of confessing since they know that it's unfair that Arnold's being punished for what they did. The one who is feeling bad the most is Harold, who at first tried to convince them as well as himself that Arnold would just do the time. However, the guilt is getting at him as it's eating away at his voice tries to convince Arnold to confess by telling Arnold his own story when he snitched on his own peers. Of course, this must be one of those things where an individual doesn't notice how they are only encouraging others to not do the thing that they want them to do. As Wards is only telling Arnold the cons to his previous actions that led the man himself to live what is clearly a loser life. Him snitching on his peers had caused him to be an outcast amongst his peers. The news that he was a snitch followed him all the way until he was an adult, that he didn't even get a girlfriend until he was an adult. And every last one of his peers mocked and beat him up all the time. This guy only instead Arnold resolved and has arrived as Arnold does his last day of the 4 week detention, and after Wards fails again and telling Arnold to confess that Wards is ready to mark Arnold's permanent record. Just as he was about to mark the spot, Harold, Sid, and Stinky rushed into the principal office crying and confessing that it was that Moon Principal Wards. Wards decided not to mark Arnold's permanent record. The guys left the school, and it seems like Wards did mark Harold, Sid, and Stinky's permanent record, but they didn't care too much about it. They all apologized to Arnold and told him that he has more guts than they would have given him credit for since they never expected him to take the entire 4 weeks detention while. My final thoughts on the episode that Arnold really got some integrity, not snitching despite that he was facing punishment for others. To me, when it comes to the snitching, it only ever bad depending on who you are snitching on. The main people in life to not snitch on are people who carry a lot of power and influence as they will order whatever punishment on you once they discover that it was you. However, when it comes to other matters where that isn't the case, I don't believe in taking punishment for others unless they are someone that I care about who are worth protecting. At least that says that you have some integrity because you will be fouled for constantly telling a friend. For recess, it was every student who lost their access to recess if they did not confess. At least Gus and his main friends did not snitch because they are taught to honor the don't tell code while the other kids snitched the moment they were called to talk to their teacher since they did not want to lose the thing that made them happy. I think this episode is where people hate Warts the most, as fans will think he is just being petty. I get that Harold and his friends should not moon him, but punishing Arnold because he was there just makes Warts detestable. At least Arnold showed that he has way more character than all three of his friends. Even Harold admitted that he would have gave Arnold up, which showed that Arnold has way more character than we expected from a guy who always wants to do the right thing. That is all, folks. Please like and subscribe to the channel.